camp, Josh and Trayvon have been, their pressure rate is pretty high this year. Just
Sure.
what does having guys like that do for the defense in terms of what you can do now that because you have players like that on the edge?
It definitely gives you more options, obviously, with their ability, their athleticism. But I think it's just more they've been working so hard during the practices, and that's showing up in the games. And I think when your hardest workers, or some of your best players are your hardest workers, that's a real positive for everybody overall in the defense. So, but it definitely gives you more options in terms of coverage.
What sort of challenges does that San Francisco offense present?
Yeah, a lot. They do a great job in the run game, play action pass. Haven't played them in the past. I think they're as good as anybody when it comes to that. And they do a really good job in the drop back game, constant movement before the snap, and just emotions, making sure everybody's on the same page, communication, and getting lined up. So, yeah, they present a lot of issues.
What have you gotten from Travis Hunter on the defensive side?
I think Travis, like I said last week, he gives us another great athlete that's got ball skills back there. I think he's progressing, getting better every week. And I think he did a good job, some of the man-to-man coverage stuff last week and some of his own coverage. I thought he did a good job tackling as well. So we've gotten a bunch out of Travis. And, like I said, looking forward to him progressing as we move forward.
How unique is McCaffrey, the receiving component of him?
Yeah, I mean, he's just if he was a receiver in general, you say this guy's a really good receiver, and he's a great back. So I think he's as good as there is at that position in terms of catching the ball at the backfield and presenting issues in the pass game. Yeah, he's special.
Devon Lloyd's sort of been excelling the last few weeks. Just what have you seen from him, and how does he fit into the scheme, or why do you feel like he fits so well?
Yeah, I think Dev is just a really physical guy, and he's blessed with a multiple skill set. I talked about that a little bit in the summer and sometimes in the spring when we had talked about personnel and defensive structure. He gives you the opportunity to do some different things on defense because he can rush the passer, and he's done a good job in pass coverage as well. I think he's playing really physical in the run game, and so overall I just think he's really doing a good job for us, and pleased with his effort and everything to this point.
What makes a Shanahan scheme just difficult to defend, just what they do schematically?
A lot of what I just said before, though, like the pre-snap movement, and they're really well coached up front. That's kind of a staple of all his teams, I feel like. I think the backs do a great job of running the ball one hole at a time. And if you leave a crease in there, they're going to take it. But they are well trained and well coached at the running back position, offensive line. I think one of the things that shows up with those teams over the years is the tight ends and receivers block. They do the dirty work, and that's usually a staple of any team that runs the ball well. They do a good job, making their play-action pass stuff look like the run game, as good as anybody. So
Tyson's play, forcing the fumble against Nico, is that kind of the epitome of the things you guys have been preaching since you got here?
That's what we're talking about all the time, and I think that just speaks to him as a player and a person, though. You know what I mean? Bouncing back the next series and making a huge play for us, but constantly attacking the ball, believing that you're going to create takeaways. And the work that he's been doing in practice, showing up right there in the moment, was huge for him, and I think huge for our team. That was great.
Last week we were talking about getting Antonio Johnson into the rotation a little bit more. He comes up with the game-ending interception. I mean, how much confidence does that give you in him?
Yeah, I think everybody here has confidence in Antonio. Like I said last week, we were talking about him. He's a big athletic guy with ball skills. He's physical. He'll tackle you. And, he loves football, so he's in here doing extra. He's in here every morning studying and preparing. So I'm just happy for him that he was rewarded that way because he's been doing the work, so excited for him. But he really is doing a good job.
Coach Cohen talked about it taking a few weeks to figure out what the offense is good at. Does it take the same amount of time on the defense to figure out just what this group is good at?
Yeah, I think I said this a couple weeks ago. You guys were asking something similar. And it's such a long season. Over the course of the season, you kind of figure out who you are. You have a great idea and a plan of what you want to be, but the players really can dictate that sometimes. Their abilities and talents, trying to utilize them as best you can to put you in the best situation or be the best defense you can be. you're definitely growing and learning every week. You know, hey, we do this well. We seem to really have a good feel for this. Let's kind of expand on this, and I think that's something that can help us. So you're definitely learning every week of who you are. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, Green and Striegel, who haven't played yet, how do you gauge their improvement in practice that say, hey, maybe they do have a merit a shot?
Yeah, like we watch everything. We watch the defensive scout reps as well, and then getting them opportunities out there with our guys when the defense is going. So I think Matt Edwards has done a great job of that, just kind of rolling guys into practice and making sure they're in competitive situations, and we're really keeping an eye on that, their progression, to get them where we want them to be.
You preparing for both quarterbacks for the 49ers, and if so, does that make it more difficult of a challenge to get ready for this week?
Anytime that's the case, it certainly is a bit of a challenge, but we're definitely preparing for both guys. And both guys are good players. So I've coached against both of the players in the past and have a ton of respect for them. And they both have a great skill set at the position. So both super smart guys. But it definitely does, you're kind of splitting a little bit of time watching both guys, and have to have a plan for both of them for sure.
When you mentioned facing San Francisco last year, at the beginning of the week, looking at those notes, is it a big resource, little resource, no resource?
No, it's definitely a resource. Like anything, anytime you play a team, you're always looking back at that and what you did well, what you didn't do well. I'm sure they're doing the same. So, it's definitely a resource.
You decide what motivational tool you're going to go with for the day. I've heard the guys talk to you. You go a few different routes, some of them National Geographic type videos. How do you find those?
Yeah. I don't know. I think it's just you knowing your guys, and then hopefully you're just being yourself. You know what I mean? And if you find something that you think is a great example of what you're talking about, and you feel like it's something that will drive the point home to the players, it doesn't matter from where. It could be anything. And I think sometimes it's always good to get those messages from outside sources and things that guys. It'll resonate with guys because it's stuff they see every day.
Defense's success so early, what do you just credit that to?
The players. We have good players, honestly. That's number one. And we have guys that really care. They're trying so hard to get it right. They're very honest with each other, and they're honest with me, and that helps. That helps me, because I don't think anything gets better without honesty. There's no job or there's no relationship in the world that honesty can't help you with. So that's the number one thing, for them to be able to be transparent with me and myself with them and with each other. They're kind of counting on each other, pouring into each other every day, and they're all selling out for each other, not on each other. And I think that's what I would attribute any of the success to those guys, to the players.
You guys have only known each other for a couple months then. How did you build that trust so early?
I just think we did a great job of building the roster here, and there was a lot of, good people. We got good players, but we got really good people. They're good guys. If you can't coach these guys, you shouldn't coach. They're really easy to coach because they work hard. There's never any complaining about, hey, this is really hard. This is not. We try and practice physical every day. Demand of them, great attention to detail in the meetings and in the walkthroughs and everything. And if you have good veteran leadership like we have here, I think that's much easier to do. And to me, that's player led.
Just go defense. I guess what sort of problems can it present?
I think problems on all three levels. The pass rush, you see those guys getting off the ball. Then the linebackers, Warner obviously makes plays all over the field. Sideline to sideline, pass game, run game, shooting gaps, in coverage, tackling screens. And then at the third level, they challenge guys in the back end, track the ball skills. So there's a reason the defense has put up the numbers they put up and performed the way they performed, really because of the way they execute and the guys they have and the way they play.
Grant, when a defense like that loses one of their top guys like Bosa, is the first quarter or so a little bit of a projection how they'll adjust not having a weapon like that?
A little bit, but at the same time, defenses are rotating guys, especially at the defensive line position. So it's not like there are no snaps from previous games where Bosa hasn't been on the field. So you expect things to be a little bit similar, a little bit different in some regards, but it's not like losing a quarterback or something on offense where your every single snap is a complete overhaul of the offense. Certainly his loss will be felt because he's such a phenomenal player, but you feel things out, but you've seen a little bit of how the defense looks without him out there.
I'm sure this might change from game to game, but what's the key to making sure that the passing game is in rhythm, just being able to steadily build on that throughout a game?
Yeah, a lot of that's on us as coaches putting together a plan first and foremost that gets guys touches, gets easy completion, gets guys in space for run after the catch. So getting those things from the beginning of the game all the way throughout third quarter into the end of the game creates that progression for guys to settle in and then have success as the game goes on. So it starts with the plan, and then it's the guys' mastery of the plan and going out and executing it really is the key to be able to get that thing to progress.
How have you thought Travis Hunter's handled his usage on offense so far? And I think Liam Cohen talked a little bit about how the coaches can help him, I guess, take more of a load on and be comfortable out there.
Absolutely. I would agree that we can help him in a lot of ways, not just the mental load in terms of lining up, shifts, motions, what route he has, what his assignment is, what the different adjustments off those things are, but also trying to help him with the technique and some of those development things, learning to play the position and run different routes that he's run before by trying to refine down and limit some of that, and at the same time keep things really clean, black and white when we're able to. It's not always going to be black and white for him. There are different coverages, different looks, different challenges that the defense can pose, so we try to limit that as much as we can so that way he can get really good at the things that we know he's going to do. But at the same time, give him the answers when those unknowns and those variables show up that cause things to change. So I think it starts with our plan as coaches, trying to refine it down for him, and then his preparation throughout the week has been great and really embracing the game plan, and trying to do extra so he feels comfortable and is able to play fast on Sunday.
Is there a belief that the drop situation is kind of fluky and that it'll be resolved confidence-wise, or like, is there more of an emphasis now on making sure that you're focusing on the drops?
We're always trying to evaluate the things we need to improve on. So we've adjusted some of the things that we do in terms of ball skills, catching, before practice, during practice, post-practice. And we'll continue to evolve with whether it's something we're successful at or whether it's something we're struggling with. We're always looking for ways to try to improve our processes and the way we practice, whether it's new drills, new techniques, new fundamentals, or just the way we teach certain things. So we've certainly done that with the drops and try to give guys different opportunities and different looks at catches, different drills, all those things. But that's really the same for any fundamental they see on the field. It could be the same for blocking, could be the same for different route running, for reads for the running backs. We're always trying to look at how can we improve those things that show up on Sunday.
Liam and Trevor both mentioned having to be patient against this defense. How do you kind of balance that with being aggressive when you need to be and knowing when to take your shots?
I think hopefully we build a plan where you find those aggressive opportunities within the plan, where you're not going outside of the scheme and trying to force something that's not there. There are going to be extended plays, and that's awesome that Trevor can do that with his feet, and all the guys can really do that by breaking tackles, run after catch. All of those things create explosives that might not be within the scheme. But we will be able to build the plan in a way where we have productive plays, efficient plays, and then when the explosive opportunities present themselves, we can capitalize on those.
When Trevor scrambles like he did in that play last week, can that be something that kind of ignites an offense that's maybe in neutral?
Absolutely. I think the guys love to see that effort that he put out there first and foremost, the demeanor and the attitude with which he ran the ball, but also the fact that he took us from a play that might not have been a great play, maybe they had things covered or things broke down, and he can make something out of nothing. That's an advantage for us, whether it's third down, first quarter, or fourth quarter.
What kind of value does Tim Patrick have being able to play different spots in a pinch like he did against Houston?
A ton of value. Not only can he play a bunch of different spots, mentally able to handle the different receiver positions, can line up inside, outside, but physically he can do a bunch of different things. You see him in the run game, finishing blocks, in the pass game, chipping and then protecting, getting out on routes. Great run after the catch that you guys saw on Sunday. So can get down the field, in cut, out cut, all those different things provides a bunch of versatility for a guy in his position where really, like you said, he's playing all those spots across the entire field.
Kind of a two-part question for you. Has illegal shift been your absolutely most hated phrase of 2025 so far? Are you just sick of hearing that?
It's definitely up there, but at the same time, we're accountable for those mistakes, so we're doing everything we can to address those, but it's certainly up there. I probably wouldn't use the word hate, but it's not my favorite, that's for sure.
We asked Trevor yesterday, as far as why is that call being called so much, as far as is it just because it's a new offensive scheme? Is it just officials cracking down on it? Or is it, these guys are so young? What are you seeing as the offensive coordinator?
Well, each one is a little bit different. There's not all the same mistake happening every single time. At the same time, we got to address those mistakes as coaches and try to put guys, just like we talked about the Travis question, put guys in a position where they can go out there, play fast, execute, line up without having to think about those things and worry about some of those shifts and motions that have caused those illegal shifts. And then the preparation from the guys and the coaches included throughout the week to master the plan and understand those different things we do. So each one has been different. Some of them have been guys lining up and moving late. Some of them guys have been lining up wrong. Some of them have been guys breaking the huddle wrong. Some of them have been an adjustment that we don't get communicated correctly. So it just takes one guy off to cause that issue. So we have to all be on the same page and really emphasize clear communication and execution.
If you can't go this week, how important is Parker Washington to kind of fill in that gap?
Parker's absolutely important to fill Diami's gap, but he would be important probably without Diami out there. I mean, he's made plays when he's had opportunities, and I think the way he's worked and continue to progress, he'll continue to have opportunities to make plays.
Thanks, Grant.